Do we have the link so that I can share it with social media now? Digo, with my...
Wyclef Jean, BKS1 Radio, let's go.
This is Essence Atkins, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Hi, this is Melba Moore, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
Yo, check it out. What's the deal? This the chef. Giving a big shout out to my peoples. Big KS, you already know what it is. Salute.
What's up? It's your girl Monifa, and I'm hanging with BKS1 Radio.
Hi, I'm Iyanla Van Zandt, and you're listening to BKS1 Radio.
BKS Radio, baby.
Hey, this is Jasmine Guy for BKS1 Radio.
What's going on? This is Lamont Rooker, and this is BKS1 Radio.
Shout out to BKS1, the best kept damn secret in the business.
Hey, what's up? This is Raven Goodwin from BET's Being Mary Jane, and shout out to BKS1.
Hi, this is Leon. You're watching BKS1 Radio.
BKS1. God bless y'all.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Owl Show right here on BKS1 Radio. It is your girl, Latoya Chanel, and I am here for our last show of the year. Yes, yes, yes. I've made it to the last show. We have all made it to the last show, and we are just going to close this year out continuing on the healing journey. Why? Because it's still important. I know we started this topic in March, but guess what? There are so many aspects to the healing journey. There are so many legs of the journey that we have to discuss, and I am so happy I have two of my favorite people who are going to be in the virtual building with me tonight, and we're going to continue talking about the healing journey and red flags. So please help me welcome to, oh, my pen is kind of off. Please help me welcome to the virtual building this evening, the ladies of the Yoshida Academy. Yay! How are you ladies tonight?
We are doing fantastic. I'll speak for myself. I'll let Minue say how she's doing, but I'm doing great. If you see me struggling a little bit, because I have something coming on, but we are declaring healing over us.
We're declaring healing.
We're good.
Yes,
that's right.
And you
it's so nice to be here on our last show before we start the new year. It's exciting.
And you take it as slow and you take it as light as you need to, because listen, I understand, and everyone unfortunately is sick at this time, and so we definitely don't want you to get any worse. So do whatever it is that you can. But it is a pleasure that you pushed forward, and thank you for pushing forward and being here for the last show of the year. And Minwee!
Yay!
How are you today?
All good, all good. I am just coming back from Mexico City, and so people ask me, how are you doing now? And I said, well, depending. Physically exhausted and emotionally fully recharged. My heart is like,
really?
Just what I needed. Yes.
Is that from travel or seeing family or?
So traveling and seeing family at the same time. And so it's wonderful because even when we are traveling everywhere, we're still working.
Yes.
But it's not the same to stop working, take a break and eat with your father, or, eat with the whole family. And by the way, in Mexico City, our families of 10, 15, 20 people.
Wow.
Not as a party, like a regular day.
Yes. Yes.
Just like everybody goes like, oh, there's a party. No, that's just a regular day. But it just looks like a party every day. But so yeah, awesome. My heart is fully recharged and ready to go.
Well, that's awesome. All right, so let's talk about it. So you mentioned family, you mentioned travel, you mentioned being recharged, which we all need. So let's talk about it, because today we are talking about red flags in the family. And we're going to be just going through all of it. And I love in some of, the notes that, we have put together. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, the holidays aren't a happy or holly time because everybody doesn't want to deal with family, and everybody doesn't necessarily feel recharged at this particular time, having to be with, those that they are related to, right? And then you have on the flip side of that, you have a lot of people who are grieving. You have a lot of people who are in mourning because unfortunately there's a lot of loss around this time too. So for those who are experiencing loss, and for some, it's their first holidays without loved ones, I send nothing but love and light out to you all, because that has to be a very hard time and very hard to deal with. So for you, I send nothing but love and light. For those where this is not a happy holly time because you don't know how to necessarily deal with those that you are in relation to, let's talk about that part of it tonight. So let's talk about red flags within your family, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that introduction, because we are talking about family. And before we get started, we do want to put out a disclaimer. And thank you for starting that process, Latoya, because tonight, some of the things that we may talk about may be triggering for some people. And so we ask for your permission. We say it with love, with the utmost respect. We will call things as they are, but we apologize in advance if any of this makes you uncomfortable. Yes. We are not therapists, medical doctors, professionals or experts in some of the subjects, and we'll call it out what we touch upon. But we want to make this disclaimer. If at all you're having some triggering episodes, something surfaces for you, please seek professional help with a professional and an expert in the subject itself. Now that we have that disclaimer out of the way, we can talk about family and the word family. And we have to talk about the etymology of this, because family is rooted in the word famulus. Familia, which is a Latin word. Okay. And the famulus is a terminology that was used during slavery. And it referred to a group of slaves. That's where the root of the word family comes from. It's from the famulus. Familia, when it was changed to the word familia, because it went from famulus to the Latin word familia, it meant a group of slaves, servants, and then those who were the masters in the household. So it described a household, and everybody in the household was part of the familia famulus. Then the word and the meaning of it changed, right, after slavery was abolished, to represent the household, everybody who is kin, having a close relationship. When we think about it, oftentimes when we think about family and we think about roles that we play in family, or even where we fall within the familia itself, we are still living in a world where it's everybody. Everybody together, because that's what it meant in the past. And everybody together not necessarily meant a good outcome, a good feeling. And you began talking about this. There are people who are struggling right now who can't stand their families. Absolutely. They're like, what am I going to do? Christmas Eve or Christmas is coming. I have to see these people. What do I do? How do I navigate having to see them? Yeah. Because there are certain patterns of behavior that happen during family events that just weigh me down.
Yeah. Can I really quick though? What was it called before family?
Famulus.
What was it?
Famulus. So it's FAMULUS.
Before was there a term before famulus?
Before famulus, it was more of a Hebrew term. I just can't pronounce what the Hebrew term is, and you could just do the research for it. Yeah. But every single culture, just so you know, and language has a form of the word family, and it takes on a different meaning depending on which part of the hemisphere you are. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. I did not know that, but okay, that's awesome. Okay, so let's.
But we're here to educate as well, just so you know, it's a little bit of some history and some context.
Yes,
so we can have a more, engaging conversation.
Right. I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, so family, right? So,
Yes.
coming from a term that stems from slavery, what implication does that have on your what implication does that have on your how you show up in families nowadays? What are your thoughts on that? So how we show up and what it is we have to give and what it is we have to endure and what it is we have to do. Is there still a connotation? Does it still take on a connotation the way it did during slavery?
That's a great question. It depends. And it depends on your family. It depends on the culture. It depends on the individual.
Yeah.
And so we could tackle it two ways. I mean, what are the two ways that we can look at this?
With two ways? There's many ways, so I don't know what you were looking for exactly, but I think it depends on the concept that you have on family, right? So
yeah.
Depending on your beliefs. And so you said, well, there are people that believe that according to what you were before coming to this world, we chose the family that we wanted to be born in. Like I've heard people to say, thank you for choosing me as your mother or as your father. Thank you for choosing me as your sister. And so there's people that say that in the other life, we actually meet again. And then maybe in the other life, Latoya, you were a sister, right? We were maybe,
right.
Maybe we were on the same family. And then maybe Angie, you were a cousin, or my mother, or also my sister. And so what happened is that we moved to another life and then we just kept seeing each other on the same group. There is a movie about this that I actually likes it. Well, there's many movies. And by the way, whomever is watching us, hi, put it on Facebook, put it on the live, on the link. I would love to know what other movies refer to this. But it's called Cloud Atlas. And this couple keep meeting each other, dimension after dimension. And I saw that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I think that's why sometimes when you see someone's like, we are cousins from another life or sisters from another life.
Yeah.
So I've felt it, and I'm not sure if I'm just making it up.
People feel familiar to you.
It's just familiar. It's like someone that you say, I don't know you that well, but you could be my sister. So that's, so it could be, some people believe that, no. And then there's people that say, I actually do not consider my siblings as family because, I don't know, I have a bad relationship or something. But my best friend is my sister or my brother, like if I've made my family, For many people that are only children, if they don't have siblings, well, maybe they have chosen someone else to be part of the family. So yeah, family is also someone you pick, someone you decide that could be that person, not necessarily tied by blood. So, which is another great, I just love being in 2023 where the structure of family is not as straight as maybe 100 years ago, where, a man and a woman with children. And they used to say, if you don't have children, you don't have family. It's like so tough. No, that the old definition of that is that, a man and woman with children. And so there was a lot of suffering for couples that say, I can't have children, or I won't have children. Your family, and you decide, right? And so then with the DEI model of the past maybe 20 years, now it's accepted to have a family of two fathers or two mothers, and then no longer a child goes to school saying like, why do you have two daddies? That's not a family. Well, guess what? That's my family.
Right.
And so now it is. And this is not for debate. I mean, if anyone wants to debate it, this is not the place. We're not asking. This is family. We accept this as the family because we also have come to that conclusion that family is what you want to make out of family, no?
I'm
I'm
sorry. Go ahead,
Ange. Add something else that in the traditional sense, family is no longer viewed as just, a mother, a father, and having a couple kids. Because for those who can't have children, well, you can be a parent in many ways. You can adopt children, right? You can mentor kids. So it depends how you view family. It's what your definition is of family. We know that there is a standard definition, but now people have redefined, well, what does that mean to me? And what does that look like?
And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. So basically it's your family it's by birth or it's chosen, right? And so it's the irony. Even before, I mean, I knew we were going to be talking about red flags, and I knew we were going to be continuing on this discussion. But literally, I'm going to say maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I was with some friends, and another friend of mine has this line of shirts that he has. And one of his slogans is curate your squad, right? And so he started a little while ago, and it didn't have as much meaning to me before as it does now, right? And so in the process of curating my squad, I have been having conversations with one of my best friends, whom I call my sister. And we were talking about, no, we are at a space in life where we are choosing, not only are we curating our squad, but we are choosing those people who are our families now, This is my sister, that's my cousin, this is my this, and that's my that, that's my nephew, and that's my niece, and we all abide by that because that's where we are. And it's these are the loving relationships. These are the positive relationships. These are the relationships where we can pour into one another, where we are growing along with one another. And these are the relationships that we're choosing. So this is my family. This is what I deem family. This is who I go to in good times. This is who I go to in bad times. And you are able to choose that. And so I'm so glad that we're having that conversation, because there are a number of people that it gets to the holiday season, and when they think of family, a lot of people will get down and a lot of people will get sad because they will say, well, I don't get along with my family, or I don't have this kind of relationship with my family, or my family doesn't celebrate in this manner, or doesn't have traditions, or doesn't do this, that, or the other. But my point is, you can curate your squad. You can choose your family, and you can create traditions during this time of year. You can start now. You can get together with your group. That can be your family, and you can have that even if your family by birth isn't what you need them to be, want them to be, or doesn't do whatever it is that you need for them to do. Just full transparency moment. There was an ex I was with in a relationship, and while we were together, he would really get upset because I celebrate everything, right? I don't care what it is. If whatever my children do, whatever my niece does, whomever, whatever it is, it's like, oh my God, you did this? All right, we're celebrating. We're planning an event. We're going to dinner. We're ordering limos, and it's going to pick us up, and we're going everywhere, and we're doing everything. And while he admired that and he enjoyed that, there were so many times where he would be there and he would kind of go and sit off to himself. And then one time I asked him, well, what's the matter? And he said, I wish my family did this.
Oh,
I wish my family did this. I wish my family was here. I wish my family was available. And I would tell him time and time again, you know, we're in a relationship, right? So what's stopping this from being your family?
Ooh, because the unhealed parts of him that still has not been worked on and through was still holding on to the things that were preventing him from accepting your traditions and creating his own traditions.
Yep. Absolutely.
At the core of it, that's what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I want to express to other people today, because I would hate for someone else to be going through that at this time. again, you can create that for yourself. And that's why I'm so glad you all brought it up with the chosen part. You can choose. You can create as long as you're here, as long as God, the creator, universe, whatever it is that you believe in, has woken you up. You have the autonomy to call one of your friends or one of your coworkers or one of your cousins or your neighbor and say, you know what? I feel akin to you. You know what? Let's do this for the holidays. If you don't have anything else to do, or if there's nothing else going on with you, let's create this. Let's do this. Let's start this tradition, even though it's not your biological family. So I just want to let people know that we have a lot more options in life, and we are honestly in control of more than we think we are.
Mm-hmm. Of course. And then, because at the end, the definition is it's a group of people that have chosen to be a unit.
Yes. Yes.
To support, to lift each other, to take care of each other.
Yes.
So how does that look? If it's two, well, that's already a group of people. If it's, and then by size, we depending on what culture you are, which is culture is another dimension, by the way.
Yes.
Like it's another layer. But as a culture, there's the nuclear family, the extended family, and sometimes the nuclear family will be just the parents and the children if they're so. But in Mexican, for example, if you go to Mexico and say I'm with my family, they mean 15 people. And so no, not only that, it's the funniest thing. Our neighbors, if we spend a lot of time with them, suddenly it's tia and tío, which is uncle.
That's right.
Yes.
And then the rest is your cousin. And so it's funny. So my husband went to Mexico one day and said oh my God, you just introduced me to 50 people. I don't remember their names. And I was like, ooh, don't worry. If they are your age, cousin. And then in the feminine or masculine of that, prima, primo, that's it. If they're older than you, it's uncle or aunt, period. And if they're younger, it's sobrina, sobrino. So all you need to do is memorize 3 words. And the rest of that is part of your family. He says, but everyone's related to you. And I said, of course they are. I said, but is it from your mother's side, from your father's side? No, you're not understanding. I choose.
I love that. I love that. Yes.
I'm choosing for them to be related to me and me to them. And so everyone is tu tío, tu tía, tu primo, and that's it. And it changes the story because blood is not just the only link that you have with people, and that extends to everyone. And then if it's family, then everything goes, It's like families first.
I used to get offended for a very long time when people would ask me, well, is that really your family? Because I know Latinos, you all love to call everybody your aunt, your uncle, your primo, your prima. And for me, it's how dare you question?
Right.
The relation, the tree, the family tree. What do you care?
Yeah.
Whether or not we're blood related, because to me, that's offensive. It's no, once I say your family, because it's a heart, my heart is choosing you as family.
Yes.
The love is there. You are now family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was a meme I saw on Instagram, TikTok, I don't know, one of those social media outlets. And it said, if my mother grew up with a group of friends and has children, she is automatically my aunt. She is automatically my aunt. Her children are automatically my cousins. And honestly, that's the way I've lived my life. Everybody is auntie this, auntie that, auntie this, uncle that, whomever it is. That's honestly, that's just the way it is. Or it's TT this or TO that or whatever it is. Because we listen, we're all mixed here. So it's all of that. So, but I love that. I love that you have the choice. And that's what I want to let people know. You have the choice. So as we move forward and as we talk about the red flags and what it is that we probably shouldn't be dealing with, I want people to know that you have a choice with what you can deal with by creating your own family and still having traditions and still having love and still having acceptance elsewhere, even if it's not from your blood relatives. So, okay, that's the good part of it. The good part is, listen up, everybody. You have options. You can still be happy and you can still create your own. That's where we are now. That's the world we live in. But for those who are still dealing with, some of the toxic behavior and red flags, let's go into, the red flags when family, like the types of red flags when dealing with family.
Oh, yeah. And again, like Angie was saying, for a couple of disclaimers, right? And so one of them is that, if there are words that might be, triggering for some people, we say this with love and respect, and please know that we're not going to go there. This is not a session with experts on the, psychology or anything like that. And so please go to therapy. And the second disclaimer is about culture. So it's very interesting. As we were putting together some of the thoughts to share with all of you today, we're saying, wait a minute, but how would a red flag be a red flag in one culture but not in the other? Right? Like just extremely simple things, like I'm in the US. Yes. I meet a guy, and then I bring it to the family. So that's my husband or my partner or my significant other. And let's say I want a man, so he's a he. And I say, my man does not hug me and kiss me in public. But I'm in this side of the hemisphere, I will go like, red flag. Red flag. My sister was telling me, you guys are kind of cold. And I'm like, really? How interesting. Like, what makes you believe that? Oh, because you're not on top of each other, literally. And so there's a culture nuance there that we wanted to bring up, because a red flag could mean something in one culture but not in another, right? In Dubai, you go to Dubai and you see some signs that say, do not hold hands.
Right.
Not touch.
Right.
Like no display of affection, right?
Yeah.
It was so interesting. I came to the US and somebody said, like, PDA, public display of
affection. Yes.
And I'm like, a PD what? What are you talking about? There's an acronym for that? Are you kidding me? Like, in Mexico, everyone's kissing each other on the streets and like on top of each other. Like, it's just a normal thing. But then if you go to other places, then that's not going to happen. No?
Right.
And so I think that we should not generalize. We should not stereotype. Please, all of you know, whatever we're talking about red flags here, it's quite generic, and it applies kind of more of the culture of where we are here in the United States.
And I'm glad you said that, because the one that I can think of, a lot of cultures talk loudly and talk with their hands. And then there's other cultures where talking loud is a form of aggression, and and you can tell I talk with my hands, because I literally am sitting here by myself talking with you all on Zoom, and I'm like, doing all of this. So, there are some cultures where talking loudly and talking with your hands is a form of aggression. And there's other cultures where talking loudly and talking with your hands is a form of love. And so as we talk about, or just, that's just natural expression. You're passionate. It's you're happy, and this is how you relate to one another. So as we talk about red flags, we do have to, as you said, make sure we recognize there are cultural differences to what red flags, should be, which also goes into couples.
Yes.
And holiday season, and you're going to your significant other's family.
Yes.
You have to understand the culture, or else you're going to start to think that there's red flags there too, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Minue and I were at a dinner on Sunday, and we were just having this conversation with a friend of ours that we were eating with. And this person happens to be from the Eastern Hemisphere and her husband is from the Western Hemisphere, and trying to figure out when it came to going to events, right? Specifically holidays, family holidays, just understanding that what is okay in one culture during the holidays is not okay in the other culture. But how do we navigate that where I'm not feeling offended and you're not feeling left out, or you're not feeling offended and I'm feeling left out? It's about having conversations, and it's also about compromise. And what are you willing to accept?
Yes.
Because that's the beautiful thing about interracial marriages, right? For me, it's the learning and acceptance of the other.
Yeah.
Because we think it's about us and accepting us, but it's not. It's about the other.
Yes.
And so how do we navigate those types of conversations where we're honest enough? You know, I had a great conversation with another friend who told me, you know, I find, so this is a gentleman, we were having the best conversation. Says to me, he's Black. He was dating a Latina person. He says, I find that Latinas tend to be more sensitive with certain subjects than Black women. And so I didn't know how to bring up certain things with this person because I knew that this person would get offended. But there were things that were important that I needed to, in hindsight, bring up, but I didn't because I didn't understand, you know, the reactions, and I didn't understand the culture enough to understand that they're not getting offended because I'm bringing this up. Maybe they're getting offended because they there's a part of them that is struggling with something, and me bringing it up is just a trigger for them. And so we just had the best conversation, how we'll literally walk away from relationships because of lack of communication, because we don't understand the other culture. This is for those who are dating outside of your culture. Meanwhile, you laugh.
No, but I'm laughing because it's the story of my life. I mean, like, it's like 20 years of this misunderstandings of like, wait a minute, what? What did she say? What do you mean? Why are they doing that? And so at the end, I just think that, you know, before we jump into like the type of red flags, again, just be very mindful that the best course of action is to ask.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Not to interpret, not to assume. Right, those are like two dangerous things. Or you know, it's like, oh, I'm assuming you're silent. No.
Yeah.
Or your nonverbal communication. No, you've got to ask. I felt this. What do you mean? Yeah. Or what does it mean for you and your family? And what is your thought? You know, what are the thoughts of this? So just please ask.
Yeah.
Maybe like if people forget about everything we say today, keep one thing: ask. That's it. That is gonna save you.
Ask without assuming.
Yeah, I'll give you another red flag. I had a friend that was married. She was Latina. She was married to somebody who was from, I think he was from Iraq, right? And the family, like a woman, because he was Muslim, you're not supposed to be, you know, touching the man and everything else. Her family, they invite his family for Christmas. Latinos, we just like you speak with your hands. You're always touchy-feely. We're all over each other. We're hugging each other, loving on each other. And the mom, when the gentleman walked in, when she presented him for the first time, like jumped on top of him and kissed him and, you know, was holding his face. And it's like, welcome to my home. And he pushed the mom away. And she was so offended. She's like, how dare he do this to my mother? My mother is trying to connect with him. This is how we show love, you know? And I said, well, think about it. Based on his belief, his religion, and where he comes from, that's a no-no.
Not only is it a no-no for his wife in public, but it's definitely a no-no for another woman.
Exactly.
To do that. So yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Oof. That's a big one. That's a big one. Okay, so we're talking about if you're just tuning in, I'm so sorry. I'm Latoya, and I am here with the ladies of Yoshida Academy, and I am here with Angie, and I'm here with Minwei, and we are talking about red flags in the family, and kind of especially around the holiday season right now, right? Because everybody's not so happy to see their family right now. So we're going to talk about red flags and how to deal with them. Right now, we were talking about some of the red flags can come from cultural differences, right? And so make sure that you're asking questions without assuming, so that we can, make sure it's not necessarily a red flag, but maybe it can be a misunderstanding. So let's move forward with some of the other red flags. We have culture, and what are some of the others?
All right. So we have decided to see them in 4 dimensions, which is always what we've been talking about, the 4 dimensions of human interaction. So the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So, and we always talk about these dimensions because we believe that we are holistic individuals, holistic human beings. And if one of these dimensions is not okay, then the rest are not okay. So we have decided to kind of put more emphasis on the last 2, but we're going to mention the first ones. And the first one is physical, no? And again, anything related to a red flag with touching or with violence or with an aggression. And so again, talk to someone about this. And we just want to mention that the red flag, it's kind of quite universal, though, that one. And I know culturally, there are things that for the people in the US would be a red flag. But there is something that we cannot explain that is more about the intuition. Little children have this intuition. It doesn't matter where in the world these little children are. Because you've seen sometimes it's like, say hi to the person, and this little kid is behind your leg like Hulk Hogan because they're feeling something. And so there is something quite intuitive. Again, for all the psychologists here on the line, let us know, where does that come from?
And
give us
that?
I don't have enough information about that. I just know it exists. I have a 15-year-old boy, and I remember him being 2 and 3 years old and feeling when some adult is not okay. He knew it, and I always respected that. So there is something that they feel, but there's a physical contact that is not accepted, that they feel like that. And by the way, sorry for the parenthesis. I have someone on the team saying we cannot put comments on Facebook. If people want to put comments or questions, what can they do? Can they?
They should be able to put them on Facebook,
YouTube, or something. They're saying, we want to ask some questions, and I'm like, well,
they should be able to put them on Facebook and on the YouTube link.
It says Facebook doesn't, but I just wanted to tell you that we have people right now on our WhatsApp saying like, this is great, we love the program, hi to Latoya, and all these messages here on our computer. But okay, well, that was the parenthesis.
Yes, but no, they should definitely be able to put comments on the Facebook link and for the YouTube link too.
Oh, okay. They're saying no, but
I'm getting some in. I'm getting some comments, and thank you to everyone who has been commenting. There are people that are saying hello. Some of them are saying my male friends have become my brothers. Someone asked, how is the relationship since the gentleman pushed the mother back after coming into the house? So yeah, we're definitely interacting right now.
Let's respond to that one, Angie, because I have something that it's a counter of that one.
That's a great question. Just so you all know, they did end up breaking up because she just couldn't deal with the amount of restrictions in the culture that for her, and so I'll make this disclaimer, for her personally, she was looking for somebody who was more in alignment with her values, belief systems. Values is so important, and beliefs, it's a foundation, it's your core. And so for her, she wanted someone who was more in alignment, which there is nothing wrong with seeking someone who is closer to, right, and shared values as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Denise, for the question. Yes.
The value underneath that particular belief, I think, Angie, is like what's underneath. Let me give you an example of this. One of my very, very good best friends, Pakistani, and he's Muslim. And then one time we were talking about, men and women not touching in the Muslim religion. And so he said, I can't hug you and touch you anymore. This is like before. And I said, oh, okay. So then one day my mom was visiting, and then my mom, being Latina, she was like, oh my God, nice to meet you. My daughter speaks so much about you. She hugs him and he hugs her back, right? And then she was touching his hand and say hello and blah, blah, blah. So the event went on and whatnot. And I asked him later, I said, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell my mom not to hug you and kiss you.
Yeah.
And he said, not at all. And I said, but I thought you said that you can't. And he said, but she didn't know.
Okay.
I said, oh, okay.
Okay.
He said, you know. So now, we made an agreement. It's your agreement with my agreement. But she didn't know, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, she's your mother.
Mm-hmm.
And the heart of a mother is what I receive. I receive the love of the heart of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so in our religion, we give we give glory to mothers, no?
Yes.
And then number three, God is love. Allah is love. And if I behave in a way that is not love, then I'm against the same principle that I'm defending.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was like, oh, okay, got it. And then I said, moving forward, I'm going to tell my mom, not to. And he said, to not bother your mother.
Yeah. No.
So again, I'm not saying right or wrong. We're not talking about morality. We're not talking about what's okay or not in religion, but I'm sharing a perspective from another religion on sharing values related to the family.
Yes.
I personally found it quite loving, and then underneath that tradition, respectful, quite respectful.
And again, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because it goes back to, the first point that we were talking about. So red flags in families, especially when we're talking about the first red flag, which could be differences in culture. Communication is important because as Angie mentioned, there may be something that you can deal with and there may be something that you can't deal with. Right. But it's important to make sure that you're communicating and you're comprehending what the other person is saying or what the other culture is, because what you deem a red flag may just be a difference in culture. Right.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to family and especially around the holidays. So that is really key. And it's important to make sure you're asking questions without assuming. I love that. I love that.
And so the first dimension is the physical one. And so red flags is also, that part of how we manifest with our body, what we think of the other or how we feel about the other. What we would say about physical red flags is that you know them, trust your instinct.
Yes.
Don't expect or wait for, I need someone to believe me,
right?
Or I need someone to support this. Part of the what should you do with all these red flags is always the same thing: is be aware and be bothered by it and don't normalize it.
Right.
Oh my goodness, Angie and I have so many stories of how in the past it used to be normal.
Oh, of course.
Right. And so, you know how Uncle blah 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 is.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Red flag. I honestly, I know we were talking about cultural differences, but I feel like that red flag is number one. Yes, I need my flag. Do I have anything red here?
When we see you too.
You have yours. When we see you, we're gonna give you your flag.
Yes. I feel like honestly that is red flag number one in families for me. Red flag number one in families, and especially around the holidays. You have so much, and I know this is in our notes. There is so much unhealed trauma. There is so much PTSD. And unfortunately, there are so many members of your family that normalize it, don't want you to speak on it, don't want you to say that, don't want you to call things what they are. It's assault. It is what it is. And if you speak on it, you're the bad person. And there's so many people that harbor these feelings, don't want to talk about it. And then you have to go to blah, blah, blah's house for Christmas Eve or for Christmas.
And pretend.
And pretend.
And be uncomfortable.
All of that is a red flag. And that's why I started this off saying, you don't have to be with the people that share the same bloodline as you and call them family just to feel like you have traditions around the holidays. You honestly do not have to do that. If that is one of the red flags in your family that you have been dealing with, you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You have a choice.
Of course. And I think that, when you are a little child, you don't know any better, right? And you're afraid. But as an adult, it's like, you do know better and don't be afraid. And so we'll say, call it out, stand up. Yeah. Stand up and say, I don't like when you do this. And I don't like you touching me like this. And I don't like you touching like my children like this. And I don't like it when you drink and you do this. And I don't like, you call it out and call it out. I wouldn't say make a scandal and make this public. It's not like that. That's an extreme. How about you call this person in private and say, there is something that you do that make me uncomfortable, and let me share with you what that is. Like adults, just be very assertive and talk about that. And then if it's a little person and they're telling you they feel uncomfortable, stop questioning them. Like, just believe, and that's it. It's like, mommy, I don't like this thing. Okay, that's enough. Don't ask for 100 explanations and prove to me. No, nobody needs to be proving anything to anyone. If I'm telling you no, it's no, period. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that our parents do. And again, I'm not judging. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I think that they were raised like that. But I remember my mom saying, oh, go and hug uncle, blah, blah, blah. Go give a kiss to this man. Go give a kiss to this woman. And I remember as a child saying like, ew, I don't want to do it.
Right.
But it was like the polite thing to do. And so nowadays it's like, no, don't force
I think a lot of families have gotten away from that over the years. I think our generation changed that, to be very, very honest with you, because growing up, that was a part of what was the normal thing to do. But I think as we got older, we started saying, yeah, no, we're not. That's not going to be a part of the norm anymore. No, my children do not have to do that. No, they don't have to hug you. No, they don't have to sit on your lap. If they are uncomfortable, no, they don't have to stay in the same room with you. No, they don't. There's nothing wrong with them. They are not disrespectful. They are not unruly. If they are uncomfortable, they don't have to do that. I think our generation, to be very honest with you, was the first generation to kind of change that culture, Yeah,
well, I'm so happy. Yeah, not totally happy, and I think that we can make a very clear distinction as well. Oh, because let's go to the other side of that red flag. By the way, I have friends whose kids do not even say hello. That's another red flag. Like, I'm sorry, now we're going to the extremes. This is like, an adult is talking to you, you're ignoring them. You go to somebody else's house and the kids don't even say hello. They're looking at their phones. And I go, yep. I'm sorry, that's a red flag to me as well. It's like,
and that's when I become a red flag, right? Because I've always been known to be Auntie Toya or TT Toya, and I don't play those games. So if that's what you do in your household, everyone knows, don't bring your children to Auntie Toya or TT Toya, because I'm going to make your children be respectful. I'm not going to make them hug me. I'm not going to invade their personal space. I'm not going to do any of those things. But when you cross the threshold into someone's home, you will speak. At basic minimum, you will speak. You will open your mouth and you will say hello and you will greet the people in the room. I didn't say kiss their cheeks, touch their hands, sit on their laps, do anything. But you will speak. And I have been known, I have a number of godchildren, I have been known to say, hey, you just walked in the house. What do you say?
Exactly.
Again, I become the red flag because if you're not teaching them that in your home, then I am the red flag. Don't bring your children around Auntie Toya.
It's just the minimum, Latoya. It's just like, good afternoon, good evening. Just common courtesy. Thank you.
Basic
How about
respect.
That?
Basic respect now.
Pass me the potatoes. Thank you, please. How about that? It's like,
those.
I will share something really quickly with the both of you. In my previous marriage, we used to host a lot of events in my home, and so there were some kids, from family, extended family, and friends that would come. I would open the door, and they would walk right past.
No, they
me.
don't. No.
And I would walk right to the child and walk them right back to the door. And I would close the door. I'm like, let's try this again. You ring the doorbell and say hello before you walk into my house.
Right.
My friends and my family used to look at me like, Angie, it's cold outside. I was like, yes, I understand, but this is my home.
Yes.
And the people who come into my home are respectful in my home.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I did that once to 2 kids. I'm never going to forget. They still bring this up to me.
Good.
But they learned that day, let me tell you.
Good. They learned. That's why I said I become the red flag at that point. Again, I am not going to violate any of your personal boundaries or space. I do not believe in that, but you will be respectful.
Yeah. And so it becomes a red flag when it's excessive, but it's also when it's lacking, no?
Right.
So there's red flags physically on and you know what, on the last podcast we were talking about microaggressions.
Yes. Oh.
Okay, so microaggressions,
especially within families.
They're not micro, they're macro, right? Sometimes it's like there's a macroaggression, and it's shown in body language and micro expression. Mm-hmm. So I think that we should not be normalizing red flags that have to do with the nonverbal or the physical manifestation of a conduct, right, of a behavior, such as now. Someone's going to talk and someone's going to say something and the rest of the family go, oh. All right, that's a microaggression and it's not okay. And if you keep doing it, then it just becomes quite offensive. So that would be like a red flag, because a little too much of that could actually end up in bullying. And family bullying is cruel. Family bullying sometimes no boundaries.
Right.
Oh, you know how they are. They're kids.
Normalizing behavior.
You know how they are.
Normalizing bad behavior. Yeah.
They're disrespectful. Yeah, I know how they are, Oh, come on. They're just like siblings. They're playing with each other. Not if one of these people are saying stop. Not if one of them is saying this is not nice. Not if one is crying. So, we've got to be careful. Red flags are also part of bullying. And bullying crosses the line between the first element, which is physical, and the mental, right? So the second category we have is mental, and now we're talking about this discrediting someone at home and always making comments towards that person, which crosses between the bullying and a mental disorder, right? Like there's parts that are not okay, and it's a red flag if someone keeps doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. Again, if you are experiencing this all the time, we used to have a friend of ours that so misogynistic, and so it's like, oh, let me tell you a woman's joke. When there was this woman driving, and I'm like, I don't know, we're not that close for you to
let's not do that.
Jokes and such. Is like, it's just the environment is not okay. Not that we're offended for every single thing. Again,
right.
Let's not make the pendulum between everything's offensive to I will bypass everything. No, it's kind of in the middle. But there's always people that keep kind of pushing other people and then mentally just always making them less. And so when people have expectations and they put them on you where you did not solicit those opinions, we called it the pizza that you didn't ask. Well, that is actually
toppings that you didn't order, because they'll add extra things to their commentary about you, or the constant comparison that they do amongst, one family with another family member. This is where, I love the terminology, keeping up with the Joneses. This is where it all happens. It starts at home.
Yeah.
Everybody is trying to one up each other, and everybody's comparing everybody to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a red flag, no? And then we
Jones
got
is my maiden name, actually.
keeping up with the toy. So, yes. And then the third dimension is emotional, and this is the one that I think happens the most, which is emotional red flags. The manipulation of this is like, and this actually coming from some older generations are like, I'm gonna die, and if you don't do this, right, like, like, I'm getting older, and also you have to,
the one that I get all the time, I'm gonna die next year, and you still haven't gotten married, found somebody, had a child, and children, because we go back to family. Children is what makes a family. It's like, no, stop putting all of your expectations and your beliefs
it's
on me. I
emotional
don't care.
manipulation is what it is. It's emotional manipulation.
All the time.
Yeah.
Manipulation, right? And then of course, anything related to lies.
Yes.
Lies and I think it's part of manipulation, but some of them are more simple. There's nothing simple in a lie, but some of them are actually an emotional disorder and narcissism. Again,
yeah.
Psychologists here in your audience will be able to tell us, but it's between emotional and mental, right?
Yeah.
And is this, you're having a great time with the family, but then suddenly you have this narcissistic person that it's like, me, pay attention to me. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do this, I'm going to behave in a certain way that will make you feel uncomfortable, but I could not care less, no? So I am allowed to yell at you, treat you bad, not call you, ghost you, gaslight you in front of your family, like all these behaviors that are not okay. For us, is like, hey, someone's doing that to you, red flag, ditch that person.
Yeah,
it's like, flag. No, get out of that.
Flags, yeah.
My mom used to say, mijita, are you a therapist? No, mom. All right, then don't play one. Don't play one, right? And so there's a lot of emotional red flags. Identify them, please, all of you, identify them. Lies, taboos, we don't talk about this. I'm sad and depressed, that's why I behave this way. I'm stressed, that's why I yell at you.
Not an excuse.
I'm tired, and so now you have to stand my bad mood, my bad humor, and all of these things.
It's like, it's not an excuse.
Go fix your life, right? Go fix your life, and then come back to this fabulous, in light and love, not with a disorder that you have. I mean, it's not fair. And the last one, and I'm just going fast because I know it's
yes. Go ahead.
Spiritual one, and we think that it has to do with not being aligned with what you believe, with your beliefs. You don't have to have the same beliefs as everyone else, but you've got to be respectful, right? And you have to not obsess and become a fanatic of those beliefs, because that's when families start fighting. Just thinking about that, we want to be right. And so, last but not least, on this red flag segment, we invite all of you to stop trying to be right. This is not about being right. This is about love. I don't want to, because just think about this. Why are countries fighting? Because my flag is the best, because I'm right, you're wrong, because my religion is the right one, because my belief system is the right one, because the way I cook this dish is the right way of cooking it. It's like, I want to be right. It's like, could you stop? And if you stop that particular thing, it's like, well, this is not about who's right. Just, this is about, let me get to know you. And if you want it this way, can I adapt? Can we find a medium, a medium term? Can we do that? And then, just be assertive and bring it up and to the right person in private, and just say, I like this, I don't like this, I think this is uncomfortable. And then seek for help. I think that's another thing that that we want to leave you all with is in this season of the year.
Yeah.
Make the conscious decision of being a better person that you were yesterday. No one, absolutely no one, should or must be successful on their own. No one should be healing on their own.
Nope.
We're not born for that. We're social beings. Ask for help.
Okay. All right. So as we're coming to the end of our show, because unfortunately we're going a little bit over, but this is some really, 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 really good stuff that I feel like a lot of people need. We have been talking about, and we're coming to the close of red flags within families this holiday season. As people are gathering, as we said, it's not always a happy time. It's not always a healthy time. We went through a number of red flags already. We talked about emotional red flags, physical red flags. We've talked about cultural differences that create red flags as well. And I just want everyone to know, if you're experiencing those emotional red flags and those physical red flags, again, you have options, especially as an adult. You don't necessarily have to show up to this dinner or go or engage. You don't have to do that. If you are trying to maintain your peace, please make sure that you're doing that without engaging in all of this. As I mentioned, curate your squad. Curate your squad. You have options. Nowadays, family isn't just blood. Family is your choice. You can choose who your family is. So you don't have to put up with, and you don't have to deal with red flags or abuse or any of the trauma that you've put up with before. Again, we're not telling everyone to be overly sensitive and you don't like what this person said, how they live or what they do. So now you don't have to do anything. And we're not saying that. And we're also saying sometimes you can be the red flag, right? Sometimes it can be you. Seek to understand if it's a cultural difference. Seek to have a conversation without assuming you know. Also, just make sure that you are, it was one of the last things that you just said, making sure that, I just completely lost my train of thought, but it's just to make
that you're doing this together, that you have help, that you seek professional.
Yes, just making sure that you are healing and making sure that you are looking for the best for yourself and the best for your family as we move on. So all of those tips and tools, I say this is for everyone who is going into this holiday season and dealing with family. Hopefully it's healthy and it's happy. But for those who where it's not, you definitely have some tips, tools, and you have some options where you don't have to deal with a toxic or a negative environment. For the ladies of Yoshida Academy, we have been doing this now for I don't know how many months, how long. I love it. And yes, it is definitely going to continue into 2024. This is not the end of our relationship and this is not the end of our series. We are going to keep going because you know what? They have become a part of the healing journey. And guess what? They have become a part of my extended family as well. So thank you both so much for doing this tonight, being here tonight. Ange, please feel better. I know you did this while feeling sick, but you look amazing. You sound amazing. Please get some rest and do whatever it is you need to do to get better so that next month you both can be in studio and we can continue on the healing journey. Do either of you have any last words for the audience tonight?
Yes, we wish you all a very happy holiday, and may this new year bring absolutely every single desire in your heart, because you have the power to manifest whatever you want and change your story.
Love, love, love.
Absolutely. On my end, I want for all of you the best for this year, and please choose freedom. Free yourself. Free yourself. There's many ways of doing this. Free yourself in 2024 from all of these things that are attachments. Please travel light.
Love, love, love. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so much for everyone who has been watching. Thank you for everyone who has been listening. I love you guys. This is my last show of the year of 2023. And I didn't even think when I started the year that I would even be back in studio. So this is all just a blessing with me being here. Thank you to everyone who has watched all year. Thank you to Norm for forcing me to come back. Thank you to Jeff who produces and does every single show because I did not think I would be here when this year started. And so I thank you all for all of it. Everyone who watches every week and comments and comes out. I thank you. I love you guys. It really means a lot to me. This healing journey has been one for me that I have needed selfishly and personally, but I thank you all for being on it. And hopefully something I've said, done, we've talked about has helped you all along the way too. And I will see you all in 2024, God willing, same place, same time, different show, continuing to heal. Bye, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Thank you.